What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of the Sports Muse Podcast. I am your host, Kevin Brumley. Man, tomorrow kicks off week one. I am stoked. I've been waiting so long for football to start back up. So I'm really excited to get down and watch some NFL again. So before we get to my picks of the week, I'm going to talk about some locks, some of my favorite underdog picks. I want you to drop your predictions for this week, what your predictions for the spread's going to be in the comments. We'll do a little thing. I'll keep track of my picks all season, my locks, my underdog picks, and we'll kind of see how much money we can make together. But I'm kind of curious what you guys not only think about my picks, but I want to hear your picks and your favorite underdog picks and your favorite locks. Let's talk about it, man. Let's figure this out together and let's get rich. So let's go ahead and start it off. Week one. Thursday, tomorrow night, we have the Chiefs versus the Texans. The Chiefs come in at -9.5. The Chiefs should win this game, right? I think they're the much superior team. I think the Texans got worse last year, from last year. But I don't like taking the points with the Chiefs here. With Deshaun Watson, a great quarterback, I worry about that backdoor cover. So I'll take the Texans plus 9.5, but I probably wouldn't bet on this game if I were you. That brings me to the next game, which is the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings. Right now, the Vikings are -2.5. I don't have a great feel for this one. It's a division game, so those are always kind of tough ones to predict. The Packers swept the Vikings last year, but I kind of look for Rodgers to be really motivated. They didn't get him any talent, so I understand why the Vikings are favored here. But I look for Rodgers to kind of be on like a redemption kind of tour. Last year, he didn't play bad by any means, but it wasn't the Aaron Rodgers we know and love. Sharp money is coming in on the Vikings. So if the line gets to +3 Packers, I really, really like this bet. But as of now, I am going to go with the underdog, and I'm going to take the Packers +2.5. But again, that's one of those ones I probably wouldn't bet on, honestly. And that brings me to the next game, the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions. This is a quick one. Mitch Trubisky is starting at quarterback. Enough said. I wouldn't bet on it, but I'm going with the Lions -3 because Mitch Trubisky is the quarterback version of what Adam Gase is as a head coach. Not good. That brings me to the next game. We have the Indianapolis Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Right now, the Colts are -8. It's again, I know I'm starting off a lot with this isn't a game I'd bet on personally, but the Jags are awful. They have some weapons with a backdoor cover, so I'm a little bit worried to take the points. Also, I don't really know what Phil Rivers has left. He threw, I think he was either led the league or second in the league in interceptions last year, threw over 20. I will take the Colts, though, because the Jags are a tire fire of a team. They're awful, but I do worry about a backdoor cover, which is why I would stay away from this game personally. That brings me to one of the games I'm kind of most intrigued about this week one is the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. The Pats are -6.5. What are the Patriots going to look like without Tom Brady? We haven't seen it in over 20 years. Right now, the Sharps are betting on Miami, and so am I. I'm fading the Pats early in this season. I'll take the Dolphins +6.5 points. And I'd also consider maybe betting on that money line. I think it could be a pretty big upset. Right now, the money line sits at +245. Bet $100, take home 245 plus your original 100. Not a bad day at the office. And that goes to, speaking of tire fires of an organization like the Jacksonville Jaguars, we have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Professional Football Team. Wow, Washington, get your act together. Philly has maybe the worst injury luck I've ever seen. They cannot stay healthy. They're all pro. Brandon Brooks, they're all pro guard. Brandon Brooks is already out. They're beat up already. Miles Sanders is kind of a little nicked up. Jeffrey's dealing with injuries. It's not even week one yet. So if I'm an Eagles fan, man, I just got to be upset. Why can't we just catch a break? But with that said, they do have enough to cover. This Washington team's horrible. They have very few bright spots. The organization is just, Dan Snyder needs to sell the team or just go off into a hole and never come back. So I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles -6 points. That brings me to an AFC North division game. We got the Cleveland Browns versus the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are favored by 8 points. I expect the Browns to have a bounce back season. but I think the Ravens are a lot to take on. I went back and forth on this one. I ended up going with the Cleveland Browns to cover the 8 points. I think it's going to be one of those. I'm picking the Ravens to win, but I think it could be like an 8 to 10 point game, somewhere in that ballpark. The thing that kind of swayed me is the Ravens have only beat the Browns by more than 8 points once in the last 4 meetings. So I end up going with the Browns on this one. I think they should be a little bit better. We'll kind of see about that one. That's probably not one I would bet on. Maybe I would tease it for the Ravens. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Then we have the New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. I may be fading the Pats early on, but I am high on the Buffalo Bills. Give me the Bills to win and cover. And anytime I get to bet against Adam Gase is a good day in my book. I can't imagine he would be the coach next year. I don't even think he'll make it through this season as the coach of the New York Jets. That brings me to the Raiders of Las Vegas versus the Carolina Panthers. The Raiders are a 3-point favorite in this game. I think I'm a little higher on the Panthers than most people, but obviously I'm worried about their defense. They're extremely young. They have some talent, but they're really, really young, especially in that back end. But honestly, I don't care. I'm going with the Panthers for a cover and an upset in this one. So I think that should be a good one. That brings me to the Seattle Seahawks versus the Atlanta Falcons. Seattle is -2. This is the one line this week that I looked at, and I kind of did a double take. I don't know if I missed something, but I'm not sure why Seattle's only a 2-point favorite in this game. I'm not sure what the Falcons showed to make us think that they should only be a 2-point dog. So this one's one of my locks of the week. I'm riding this one hard. Give me Seattle all day. Any kind of parlays that I do, any kind of teases, I'm definitely putting the Seahawks in that. That brings me to the Los Angeles. I almost said San Diego. The Los Angeles Chargers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Chargers are -3. This is probably going to be one of the worst games, one of the sloppiest games all week. It's just going to be, Tyrod Taylor, not your classic quarterback. Joe Burrow, rookie. I just don't really have a great feel for this game. I hate seeing Derwin James out again. He's one of my favorite players on defense to watch in the entire NFL. He's a game changer all by himself. But with that said, I'm still picking the Chargers to find a way to not only win, but cover the 3 points. That takes us to one of the games of the week, maybe the game of the week. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are favored by 3.5 points. New quarterback, new system. I wish it was only Saints -3, and I would feel pretty good about taking the Saints there. But with that said, I'm still taking the 3.5. It could even get up to 4. It kind of depends on how the sharps start pushing their money. But I do like the Saints with a little bit more continuity. But with the new quarterback, new system, I know he's the greatest quarterback of all time, but it can't be an easy transition. That takes me to the Arizona Cardinals versus the San Francisco 49ers, and the Niners are favored by 7 points. There's a good quarterback in Arizona named Kyler Murray, if you haven't heard of him. He's one of those kind of dark horse MVP guys. Everyone expects him to take the leap, and, I expect that too. With that being said, I think that Niners team, we'll probably see him in another Super Bowl or at least an NFC Championship game. So with that being said, I am taking the Niners -7. I don't feel great about it because I worry about that backdoor cover. But with that Niners defense being as stout as it is, it makes me feel a little bit better. And that's why I'm confident taking the Niners -7. We have the Dallas Cowboys going against the Rams. The Cowboys are a 3-point favorite. The Cowboys have a new head coach, but they have the same play caller in Kellen Moore. So I expect a lot of the same stuff, which is good for that offense. They do have a new receiver, but as far as most of the band's back together, so I am taking Dallas in this one. I expect a great year from them, so give me the Cowboys -3. And then on Monday night, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, my Pittsburgh Steelers, taking on the New York Giants. The G-Man. The Giants have a lot better roster than what people realize. When I was doing my breakdowns for every team in the NFL, that was probably the team I was most surprised about. I actually do like their roster, but with that being said, is I gotta see it to believe it. I'm still not sold on Daniel Jones. I don't know if you should trust Ben. He's looked good in some videos, but you say that about anybody. But I'm going to trust Ben. I think his health's good for now, at least. So give me the Steelers -6. And that brings us to the last game of the week. It is the Tennessee Titans versus the Denver Broncos. The Titans are favored by 2.5 points. If you would have asked me 2 days ago, I would have taken the Broncos here, and a little bit of an upset. But with the news of Von Miller being out for the season, I think that has to take the wind out of the sail for the Denver Broncos, at least this week. Denver's a team I was kind of pumping pretty hard to make a playoff push. I was even saying that 4 or 5 months ago. But it's just tough when your heart and your soul, the best player on your team, goes out like that. So with that being said, give me the Titans -2.5. So to kind of recap a little bit, my locks of the week is I'm taking the Seahawks -2, the Bills -6.5, the 49ers -7. Underdog money line picks that I'm taking is I'm taking the Packers, I'm taking the Miami Dolphins, and I'm taking the Carolina Panthers. My favorite teams throwing a teaser, give me Packers, Bills, Titans, Steelers, Cowboys, Niners, and Seahawks. And my teaser of the week is a 6-point teaser with the Buffalo Bills down to -0.5, the Niners down to -1, and the Seahawks to +4. You always want to cross those thresholds when you're doing a teaser. So that is my teaser of the week. If you guys like the content, click like, click subscribe. And like I said, make sure you drop your predictions in the comments because I want to hear them. I'll see you later, guys.